All right, DGPT Plus, Discraft Ledgestone Open, round 3. It's moving day. This is the C1x report. So, as always on moving day rounds, we're going to go look at whoever is currently sitting in last cash. We're going to enter their round into C1x, take a look at the stats, give them a grade. I like doing the last cash position on moving day just because typically in the C1x reports, and certainly for typically what we get to watch on standard disc golf coverage, it's always people who are shredding. You don't get to see the other side of those tournaments a lot, which is people that are maybe not having their best day, struggling a little bit, especially at a course like Northwood Black, which is known to just beat people up. So we're going to take a look at the last cash round, enter it in, and see what the stats show. So scrolling over to the scores, I am going to have to periodically check my screen capture to make sure it's still rolling. Had some issues with the upload, so I intended to upload the video from round 2 this morning. It actually just went up a couple hours ago at the time that I'm recording this. So later upload for round 2. We're getting round 3 and still on the Saturday, but currently sitting at last cash. Cut to the chase here is Caleb Bruce. Not a name I'm familiar with. Let's pull this open here. From Oklahoma. All right, I went to school in Oklahoma. We can get behind that. Not having his best day, but 4 over in Northwood Black, shooting 10-18 for the event. Still pretty good. And it looks like, fortunately for Caleb, although he is sitting at last cash, it looks like only the top 40% advanced to the final round anyways. So I think at this point he's guaranteed to cash. I don't think he can drop out because I don't think that these people are going to get to play the final round at Eureka Temp. So if that's the case, congrats to Caleb for cashing at a Pro Tour event. Always cool. Not the best day, but hey, you featured on the C1x report, so that makes it worth it, right? So let's open up Caleb's name here, get the scorecard showing, and then we will enter the round into C1x. It's being a little slow here on me. I don't know why. And then as always, we'll put those graphics from C1x into the round. Is PDGA Live frozen on me? Is my internet slow on me? That might be the case. Still filming these at a new location just for this weekend as I'm traveling around. We do already have Northwood Black in the app from Silas Schultz round 2, which was a pretty hot round. I think my internet's just being slow. This makes for an entertaining video, right? All right, pop open for me. Nice. There we go. All right, that's all we need is that screen right there. So we'll hit start round. Slide this over a little bit, make sure I'm fitting. Yeah, we're good enough. And then scroll over to where we have Northwood Black here, and we'll check out Caleb's round 3 at Ledgestone. All right, so hole 1, looks like he found penalty off the tee. I know a lot of people on hole 1 do that with just a bad kick. Probably not missing the drive by too much, but lots of those trees will shoot you way left, and you can find OB on hole 1 on that course. Pretty tough hole 1. Certainly, obviously, you got to be a tough hole 1 if you're on the hardest course in the world. Top 2 hardest course in the world, at least. So penalty off the tee. Looks like we can probably assume throwing from the rough. It's pretty hard, I think, to kick OB on hole 1 and still be throwing it from the fairway. So we can assume rough on that. Threw the upshot to 19 feet, though. Not a bad scramble in the basket for the bogey. Could have been worse. Hole 2 looks like drive landed in the fairway, second shot in the fairway, approach shot to 20 feet, and then made a putt for par. Pretty similar on hole 3, 2 shots in the fairway, upshot to 10 feet this time for the tap-in par, and then pretty much the same thing on hole 4, 2 shots in the fairway, upshot to 12 feet, tap-in for another par. Hole 5, we're getting on the board with the first birdie. Drive in the fairway, upshot to 21 feet, in the basket for the birdie. Hole 6, looks like we had 2 shots in the fairway. Looks like 4 shots in the fairway, probably in the rough at some point, but no scramble. Threw this shot into circle 2. Missed the circle 2 putt, had a 15-foot comebacker for the bogey. Enter that one in, right? All right, hole 7, drive to 25 feet, and then hit the birdie putt. Great little bounce back there. Hole 8, par 3 drive, just landed in the fairway, not getting inside circle 2 in regulation on that one, but hit a nice 28-footer for par there. Hole 9, drive in the fairway, upshot to 21 feet in the basket for birdie. Hole 10, drive to 22 feet in the basket for birdie. Nice little stretch there. Pretty slow start to the round, getting 4 out of 6, 1 bogey mixed in there. It's going to happen in Northwood Black. Hole 11, looks like he found the rough off the tee, no penalty strokes. Unable to scramble, we'll assume he got back out to the fairway. Threw an approach shot to 24 feet and made the putt for bogey. Hole 12, taking a 6, what I think a lot of people would say is the hardest hole in the world. Just brutal, super long, tight woods. Looks like he found rough off the tee, out into the fairway. No missed putts, so 3rd shot into the fairway, 4th shot into the fairway, an upshot to 10 feet, and tap and bogey. Hole 13, drive in the fairway, upshot to 22 feet, in the basket for the birdie. Hole 14, I don't explicitly remember which hole 14 was, but definitely got the better of him this round. Drive in the rough. Looks like a missed putt for the single bogey as well, which is always tough. But 2 throws, 3rd shot into the fairway, 4th shot into the fairway, and then it looks like his 5th shot went into circle 1. We'll say 22 to 33 feet. Missed that putt. Had the comebacker from 7 feet for the double to get over par for the round. Hole 15, drive landed in the fairway. And then got to assume he was in the rough at some point. We'll say 2nd shot was in the rough. Back out to the fairway. 4th shot to 12 feet. And then in the basket for the bogey. Hole 16, put a drive to 19 feet. Made a nice birdie putt for the bounce back. And then had an unfortunate finish here. Penalty off of the tee was not inside of C2 after the penalty, so we'll say he was in the rough. Threw an upshot to 11 feet and in the basket for the bogey. And then hole 18, hit the fairway off the tee. Has an X for scramble, so we'll assume the second one went into the rough. 3rd shot back out to the fairway. 4th shot to the fairway. No missed putts, so 5th shot to 12 feet. And then made the putt for the double. So let's hide this. Looks like we're still rolling as of right now, which is great. Let's take a look at Caleb's round. So pretty slow and honestly not bad front 9. 1 under through the front, and then did not take a single par on the entire back 9. Which, at least there were some birdies in there. That always helps. They certainly kept him above the cash line at least, which is great. C1x putting, circle 1 putting, honestly really solid. 93%. It's going to be hard to ask for much more than that. The driving was definitely the issue. The driving stats still aren't terrible. Like 33% inside of circle 1 for regulation for birdie. You'd probably take that inside of C1 on 6 of the holes at Northwood Black. Not bad. Could have been better, but certainly not bad. Still getting an MPO round grade. It definitely could have been worse. I think just being used to looking at the rounds where people are shredding, it feels like these rounds are terrible, but a 4 over at Northwood Black, still almost 1,000 rated. Definitely not the worst round that we've covered in these C1X reports. I'm sure not what Caleb was looking for, but good enough to stay above cash, and the stats show that. So did have a couple penalty strokes, but only one missed circle one putt. Only one circle two putt attempted the entire round, which is pretty crazy. 0%, but only 0 for 1. So not a lot of circle two looks, which, circle two and circle one in regulation were the exact same stat at 33%. Putting distance is a lot of putts in that 11 to 22 foot range, and he hit every single one of them, so that's great. Only that one circle two putt for the entire round. Bounce back rate not bad. Every time he was inside of circle one, he made the putt for birdie. The 2 penalty strokes, but that happens. Substantially better on the front 9 than the back 9. Not surprised by that. You kind of have to do that to be 1 over on the front 9 and then be a decent bit over par on the back. But 11 C1X made putts in a row, didn't miss. Only 4 holes in a row bogey free. That's probably the moral of the story. It seems like it was not a bad round, but just some mistakes sprinkled throughout that at a course like that caused the score to skyrocket a little bit. I'm sure it puts you in some positions that are pretty tough to get out of, but all in all, not a terrible round. So let's go up here. We'll take a screenshot of this, and then let's go enter this into our graphics for the C1X Instagram and the thumbnail for this video. So we'll grab our screenshot here. Let's drop it in. We've got Caleb Bruce, I believe. Make sure I'm not misspelling it all. This was round 3. It was a 72 at 4 over. And what was this rated? 994. Man, it's a hard course. 4 over par, almost 1,000 rated. It's crazy. I'm going to highlight the C1X putting stat because it's still great. That is nothing to balk at. Putting was certainly not letting him down today, and his C1X round grade showed that. Let's keep going here. Other stats, probably get away from the C1 in regulation here. Let's do a bounce back rate. I think that's a pretty decent stat at 43%. Definitely could have been worse. And birdies are just tough to get on every single hole at Northwood Black. So I don't think that's anything to balk at. And then maybe we throw the C1X made putts in a row. I think that Caleb honestly played a pretty decent round. I'm sure that he would disagree. Driving stats could have been better. That was definitely where the issue was in the round, but not awful. I want the stats to reflect some of the positives from this round. So C1X putting streak. And I'll remove the highlight on this one. It's not quite as crazy as Silas Schultz. 39% park rate in that second round, which was silly. But yeah, so this is Caleb Bruce's round 3 at Ledgestone. Let's go put together the thumbnail real quick. I think I'm going to give this round a rating of hold. I do think that Caleb can bounce back, but he's in a position now where, because everyone below him is dropping off, he shot a round where it's not out of place with everyone that's below the cash line, but everyone that's above the cash line shot better for the most part, Colin Bryant here tying him, but that's pretty much it. It's in a position where Caleb can certainly make a little push up the leaderboard, get a little extra cash from the tournament, but I think mentally it's hard to. It's hard to feel confident that you're going to do that, just having, gotten beat on the previous day by literally everyone else that's playing in the tournament still. But I think you can. And typically I do these based off of whether or not, at least on moving day, whether or not I think they're still going to cash. And it looks like Caleb's 100% still going to cash. So I think a rating of hold is going to be appropriate. And then let's go grab that round grade, which was a 7.53. And I do think the putting is probably carrying that stat pretty heavily. One thing in the future I might do is, as I mentioned before, the C1x round grade doesn't look at round score. It looks at stats kept in the app. It's a stat keeping app. It looks at driving and putting stats, both fairly evenly split, and displaying the stats separately in C1x just so you can see what percentage of your grade is coming from driving versus putting, and maybe help identify some areas of improvement. But I think the Caleb's round here is definitely getting a boost from the putting stat. I think the driving stat is probably the reason it's not in the 8 or 9s, and there's also the reason why the round score wasn't higher. So let's go copy our tournament name here. And yeah, that is going to be our thumbnail for the video. This will go up on the C1x Instagram shortly. And this was Caleb's round 3 at the Ledgestone Open. So not the score, again, that I'm sure Caleb was looking for, but I don't think a very bad performance. I think it's the kind of day that anyone could have out at Northwood Black, especially anyone who just isn't having their best day, which it looks like Caleb wasn't. So still good enough to stay above the cash line, make a little money, playing at courses like Eureka Temp and 2 rounds at Northwood Black. I think that's an accomplishment in and of itself. So I'd say congrats to Caleb. Maybe it didn't feel that way, but he cashed. So that's going to wrap it up for the C1x Report, round 3 at the Ledgestone Open. As always, I'm going to give myself a little bit of buffer on the final round C1x Report, just because I do like to watch the coverage of the end of tournaments, and I don't want to spoil it for myself. So I'll wait until we have a chance to watch that, and then the C1x Report for the final day will go live. And on the final day, I always just do the round of the winner. So, yeah. That'll cover it for the C1x Report round 3. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.